Lots of music on the floor of the convention center, too, but we grabbed 3 New Orleans journalists for a serious discussion in our roundtable. Norman Robinson, anchor at WDSU-TV. Jarvis DeBerry, columnist for the Times-Picayune. And Sabrina Wilson, reporter for Fox News 8.
All right, folks, a lot of things we could talk about in this country, in this state, in this city. But I want to deal with the issue of health care. Supreme Court made their decision. Governor Bobby Jindal, one of the first Republican governors, come out and say he is not going to go for the Medicare, Medicaid provision. I keep saying, when you have a state like Louisiana, red state, a lot of poor folks, a lot of folks need health care, what is the reaction going to be from the people when the governor says, I'm going to opt out?
Well, the majority of the people are going to support Jindal's reaction to health care and the Supreme Court ruling, because the majority of the people elected Jindal. It's going to be that 30% who are not going to be happy with the decision, but he's now being vetted for the vice presidency on the Republican ticket, so he could care less. His entire program right now is geared towards fitting the national GOP agenda, and that is to cut taxes and cut costs no matter who's affected.
That said, we have 1.2 million people in Louisiana already on Medicaid, and of course this is a very poor state. Now, the problem that happened in the Congress with the transportation bill, that has made a $1.1 billion hole in the Medicaid budget here in Louisiana, so now there's talk of cutting the charity hospital system, further negatively impacting the poor in this state.
I agree with Norman. What matters most to Jindal is his ambition, and whatever makes him appeal to people on a national level, or specifically the farthest right wing of the GOP on the national level, that's what he's going to do. I don't think he's as concerned about the people or the poor people of Louisiana as he is pleased in that aspect of the Republican Party.
Well, what is amazing to me is that I cover city government, I cover county government, and the reality is 50% you talk about, they're paying higher taxes because so many people are going to the county hospitals. And so if you have more folks with health care, then you're likely not to have emergency rooms clogged up. You're likely to have them being able to go elsewhere. And so you can potentially save on when it comes to property taxes. And so I don't understand why people somehow think that having health care is a bad thing, especially in a state where you desperately need it.
Well, you come from a rational position. The people who are looking at health care are looking at the face of health care first to begin with. And that is, in their mind, historically and traditionally, that means people who have not worked for a living, people who have lived off of the sweat and brow and hard work of the middle and working class who paid their way. They don't understand this notion that some people just are poor for no matter.
The working poor. I personally know people who work every day, 40, 50 hours a week, but they don't have health coverage on their jobs, and they certainly can't afford to pay $400 to $500 a month to insure their families.
Well, last year, the governor had an opportunity to agree with the legislator in renewing a 4-cent tax on cigarettes, which everybody knows generally improves health care because fewer people smoke, fewer young people smoke. He considered that renewal a new tax and therefore voted against it. For somebody who used to be the top health official in the state of Louisiana to support the lowering of the cost of cigarettes was so nakedly ambitious. I mean, it was just absolutely ridiculous.
I want to shift to this issue. I talked to Mayor Mitch Landrieu, and he has really been aggressive in speaking out to various groups about the murder rate in certain neighborhoods and how it's affecting young black men. We see what's happening in Chicago. We see what's happening in other cities. What do you think about the mayor being that aggressive, partnering with Michael Nutter in Philadelphia, the mayor there, to say, look, we've got to deal with the reality of losing another generation of young black men to homicide?
I applaud his involvement and would criticize him if he wasn't taking a lead role in this, because this is his city. He's the leader of the city, and as he talks about all the time so poignantly, when his BlackBerry goes off and the police department is alerting him that another young African-American male has been killed on the streets of New Orleans.
When he says it as a white male, that if nearly 200 white boys had been killed, there will be outrage. What do you think that says to have him making that kind of statement? Because most folks hear from a black mayor, they might say, okay, I got you.
What it says to me is this. Like Sabrina, I applaud the mayor's action, his policy, and his aggressiveness. But where I think this whole thing falls short is we're making it a political issue. It is a social issue that has
moral issue.
And a moral issue that continues to dog the black community. And I say black community predominantly and specifically.
Right.
And the only people who can solve this issue are black people. And I don't understand why that gets lost on the masses.
Right.
We'll get upset more about a white person killing a black person in one instance.
Right.
Than we will about black people killing 100 black people.
Right.
In several instances. And that I don't get. There should be outrage in the black community. There should be men taken to the streets
Amen.
to patrol their neighborhoods to ensure that young black men are falling in line with respect for the humanity that this community deserves. And I don't understand this idea of looking to the mayor, our white savior,
right,
to come riding to the rescue. It insults me.
I don't think we should look to the mayor to be our white savior, but I do think that everybody has the expectation of police protection and police honesty and integrity, and New Orleanians haven't gotten that for a very long time.
You can put a policeman on every corner of every street in this city.
Right.
And it wouldn't make a difference if we don't get to those young black men before they turn that corner and fall by the wayside. That's where we're missing the boat.